I spent many years in pursuit of the career goals, and I didn't feel well. My mental health wasn't well. And now I just like really want peace and ease. Everybody's advice: grow fast, do this, you gotta do this, you can't do that. I mean, it was just, I lost my reasoning and I had become really, really unhealthy. Our team was majority women. We always worked with the majority of women on our production team.
It is our choice to decide that we can heal from it and no longer have to take it with us into our future.
My purpose has always led me, and it led me to my own healing. It was this mission. It was like, God, I gotta do this. How I'm gonna do this.
Hey everybody, it's Maureen, and this is my podcast, Weighing In on the Way In. Today, we're weighing in on Diamonde Williamson's Way In. Diamonde Williamson is founder and CEO of Third and Wonder Production House, the go-to media and production company for Black women and Black culture, specializing in branded, documentary, and unscripted formats. She's created hundreds of videos for notable clientele like the Oprah Winfrey Network, Google, Warner Brothers, Essence, and more. The multi-hyphenate thrives in her ability to tell authentic, innovative, and quality visual stories. Diamonde's mastery and passion is evident through her diverse professional experiences and the content she creates, like Webby Honoree competition series Biz Bestie Showdown, original documentary Best Friends Not Forever, and the highly praised podcast Creative Women Wanted. Her continued goal is to build community and produce entertaining, empowering, and relatable art for Black women. Welcome to the show, Diamond!
Hello.
How are you?
How am I today? I'm fatigued a little bit because of daylight savings time, I would say, but like overall I'm doing really
good.
well.
I don't know. It never seems to affect me. Like I guess because I'm always kind of ripping and running, like whether it's back or forward. Where in the world are you?
I am in Dallas, Texas.
Nice. Have you always been in Texas?
No, I just moved here this summer.
Okay, how do you like it?
I love it. I love it for like what I need in my personal life right now. Dallas is really good. I feel like I've made location moves based on my career in the past. So this is a personal move and it feels really good.
Good. That's good. Tell us a little bit about who young Diamond was.
It's so I don't know that I've ever been asked this, like about this specific point in my life, like as a teen. But I would say I was like a class clown. I was very friendly. I was very social. I was like a basketball manager, so I loved like just supporting the women on the team. I had best friends that I loved spending time with. I worked at McDonald's. So I feel like I was a very active participant in my life. And then college, I was an art major at first. I was an interior design major and they got rid of the major. So I ended up becoming a business major. And I think that really influenced my entrepreneurial journey because I was an art major and an entrepreneur. And I had art a part of my whole life. Like I really merged the two, in starting my creative business. I will say in high school, I had big dreams, but I think in college, my dreams got smaller. It was like, I had to be more practical. I felt like I had to be more practical once I got to college.
It's crazy. It's like we lose our childlike sensibilities as we become adults. And that's like the thing that you need to keep.
But I think we come back to it, right? Like I feel like I went away from it, but that now as I've gotten like in my 30s, I'm coming straight back to it, like to really honoring what that young girl, that young child needed.
Yeah. What school did you go to?
I went to University of West Georgia.
So there's a funny story about you and me. I don't know if you know. Okay.
No. Tell me. I'm like, okay, what? Oh goodness, I'm nervous.
So I reached out to you on LinkedIn because I see your posts come up all the time. I'm like, I definitely want to interview you. And then I went to look for your email address from our recent communication, and your Gmail came up. And I was like, oh, she's in my email? Okay, in my contacts? And you reached out to me when I did My Life Offline, the web series that featured 3 of the top natural hair bloggers. You reached out to me in 2017. And then, no, in 2016. But then in 2017, and I don't even know what transpired. I don't know. I think we had communicated, but we never actually spoke. Then in 2017, Whitney from Skinny Black Girls Code thought that it would be a good idea for us to connect. And it never happened. So it's crazy now that we're connecting now because you at the time had an amazing company that I want to get into that I know that you're not doing right now, but it was Blossom. So take me back to Blossom. Talk about the platform and how you ended up with Third and Wonder Production House.
I started out on YouTube. Like, YouTube is how I even got into television, because I was watching Super Soul Sunday on the Oprah Winfrey Network, and it really inspired me to like get on YouTube and create the things that I wanted to create and tell the stories I wanted to tell. So I started by doing that, and in doing that, like while I was doing that, I met someone who worked in television, and I talked to her like, "Yo, I want to get in TV." And she got me my first job. And like a couple of reality television shows led me to working on Iyanla Fix My Life. And that really changed the game for me. And like while I was working on all these shows, I missed doing my own YouTube content. So God gave me the idea to kind of bring together my YouTube background and my television background into creating this platform called Blossom. And Blossom is it was a subscription video on demand platform for Black women to find shows and content and films and documentaries they could relate to, and Black women like us who were creative and creating these things to find new audiences. So at some point we had it was like almost 200 paying subscribers, which was amazing. We got a lot of opportunities to present at South by Southwest and to be in Forbes at the time and to be on the cover of this Atlanta magazine, not Atlanta magazine, but an Atlanta magazine. I forget which name of it was, but it just led to a lot of opportunities. And in doing this creative work, many people started to come to us like, "Hey, can you create for us? Can you make my video?" Actually, you know what? The truth is I started a production company before Blossom because I was in the television world, but like it really, I had to evolve it, and it really grew once I started Blossom because, we were doing all this creative work. And so the name at first was Mercy Jackson, and then it became Majority Women, and then it became Third and Wonder Production
Walk
House,
me through
which is
those.
what it is.
Why Mercy? And then how did you end up with Third and
Yes.
Wonder?
So Mercy Jackson was like, I was a partnership between myself and someone else. And so it was like a combination of like names that meant a lot to us. And then she ended up going in a different direction. And then Majority Women was the name because our team was majority women. We always worked with the majority of women on our production team. And then Third and Wonder because I wanted something that felt more corporate at the time. I was in my third decade, and I'm curious. I'm a curious person. And so curious, wonder sounds better. So that's how
I
we
like that. How did you come across My Life Offline?
Oh, I don't even, honestly, I do not know. I mean, I was so like consumed with finding Black women's content that either it found me some way, like somebody maybe have shared it with me, or I found it. But we were like, it was so many of us Black women involved in Blossom that were always looking for shows, always looking for things. And I do think, it was sort of like a renaissance of independent content at that
Yeah.
time. I think there's always independent content, but when it came to Black women, I think there was a lot of us who were creating and doing screenings, and like it was just it felt sort of like a renaissance. Somehow I found it. I don't really know how.
How difficult was it for you to, one, walk away from creating this amazing platform for Black women and majority themed around Black women? And then how difficult was it for you, or maybe easy, to start your production company? Like, what were some of the challenges that you faced?
Well, starting both the production company and Blossom were natural things. They kind of felt like a natural progression of the work that I wanted to do. And the production company, that was like super easy because it was just like, we're already doing this. So this is, the way to go. With Blossom, it was so incredibly difficult to walk away from it. And the reason I even did walk away from it was I think I had lost like the mission. I was so caught up, all these everybody's advice, grow fast, do this, you got to do this, you can't do that. I mean, it was just, I lost my reasoning, and I had become really, really unhealthy. I had an addiction at the time. I was bulimic. So I had a food addiction. And so I was just spiraling. I was getting worse. I was getting sicker. I was getting more suicidal at the time. And so I ended up going to therapy like almost a year before I end up quitting Blossom. And in my therapy is where I just kind of just learned a lot of things and realized that this was no longer aligned for this version of
Right.
me. Because I had stopped my eating disorder. I just become a different
Mhm.
person. So that's why I say, like, I think I'd come back. I know I'll come back to something like that. It would just look different because the intention, the heart of what I was doing is still
Right.
there. It's just I would want it to look
Right.
different.
I know that when I started my production company, I really, was something that was very new to me. It's not like I went to school for it. It's not, I basically knew that how to put a crew together and I knew how to produce content. But for you, was it, so you said that it was something that, you fell into naturally. Did you face any challenges with bringing crew together, with finding clients? Who was the first client that came over to you? I saw that you did the lip bar and some other really great, Black women that you've produced content for. Talk to me about those clients and how it was for you.
So I have absolutely experienced challenges. I mean, it's first of all, it's not a business that like has a continuously upward trajectory, right? Like it's not like something that's like, all right, you make this much this year, this much this year, this much this year. Like it's a very up and down thing, which is tough when building a business. I want it to be consistent. I'm fully invested in it. I want it to give me like everything in return. So it definitely was challenging from the financial standpoint. I think that the more work that we did, the more we attracted the type of people that we wanted to work with. Like the lip bar came to me. I got to work with Exo Nicole. You know, some things I
Mhm.
pursued, but some things also found me. And I think it's because I also stayed in my lane. The best stories I could tell are going to be for Black women, and I was very unapologetic about that. And I think that there are some people who've been afraid to like own
Right.
that because I've had people tell me like focusing on Black women is too small of a niche. But it'd be those same Black women that come to me and want to hire me. It's wild, you know? And that's not all the time, but like I'm so proud of myself for staying committed to the vision for Black women because then I felt like those are the women that came to us or, you know, to work with us. And we hired Black women too, you know, and it wasn't always easy. We've had women that, you know, who've worked with us who talk like, yes, I could do it. And then they just wouldn't show up with excellence. And then we've had amazing women that we've worked with for
Mhm.
years. So, you know, crew has been a challenge. Finding clients has been a challenge. Building income has been a challenge. But one of the biggest challenges was just feeling invaluable as an artist. Like one of my clients, I remember I was just so, you know, I was very excited to tell her story. I thought it was very important for her to tell her story to help her get more clients. But what I do know in hindsight is that she looked at me as a service provider and not an artist. She didn't value my skill set as an artist. She looked at me as somebody who was just providing a service, and she treated me as such. I remember her telling me like, what you're doing, you know, I'm not going to give you a testimonial because it didn't provide any value for me. This is somebody who invested in the company, like hired the company for 2 years and then told me that it didn't provide any value. And that's kind of when things shifted for
Yeah.
me. I was like, okay, like we got to get back to the art.
Right.
Like we're not just business women, we're
Right.
art. And I want to be around more people who, and have more clients who can value me as an
Right.
artist.
What was it about what you did as a service for that client that solicited that type of comment?
I mean, I had no clue. I think it's something that she had never done before. I had pitched her like to do a miniature documentary series to serve as a marketing
Yeah.
tool for her because she hadn't done it, and a lot of people in the coaching industry hadn't done that
Yeah.
before. Hadn't like done a miniature
Which is a
documentary
great
series, so I
idea.
pitched that to her. Brilliant. It was me bringing my way of thinking into a new
Yeah.
industry for me, and I thought it was brilliant. And I really think it's because she, you know, there was no like direct tie to like, hey, we did this video, 25 clients came out of it. I think because it was hard. Like I didn't measure from the beginning, maybe how many followers she had, maybe how many clients she had to even say like, hey, this is the value we provided.
Yeah.
But I think that helped me also understand that I'm not here to do your
Marketing.
marketing.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, I'm here to tell your
Yeah. That's a
story.
different
So
hat.
I'm not dealing with them. Yeah, it's a different hat. And I think that helped me realize it because I think how she was looking at
Right.
me.
Right.
It was
Black
tough,
women
but
without question are amazing. Why are they to you?
it's so hard to say because it's really all I know, to be honest. Like my grandmother was a big part of my life. My mother is a big part of my life. My aunt is a big part of my life. Some of the first women I worked for were entrepreneurs like Patrice Washington, Myleik Teele, Maddie James. I mean, there's so
I
many
love my
amazing
lead.
Black women. Yeah, like Drexina Nelson. Like I've worked with so many Black women entrepreneurs, Black women producers, Iyanla Van Zant. You know what I'm saying? Like for the Oprah Winfrey Network, like it's just what I know. There's such an influence on me that it's like it's hard for me to tell you why. It's just what I know as Black
Yeah.
women, to be
I mean,
honest.
it also just sounds like you have a passion for Black women because that's what you have based your production company around. It's very specific. And it's also a very good group to base your content around.
Because I am a Black woman and I've been called to use my life in these stories that I tell and to tell Black women's stories. It's like, I don't know. I really am just most interested in us and our
Yeah.
healing. Like, I mean, obviously, I didn't just like in school. It wasn't just I wasn't at like Black schools. I was at very mixed schools and diverse schools, but it was just always going to be Black women
Right.
for me. And I just felt so to be unapologetic about it because I'm telling you, early on in my career, people were like, "You can't focus on just Black women. You can't just focus." And it's like, skirt. I've just proven that that's not
Right.
true.
It's good that you stood on that because I remember I sat down with a junior agent at an agency in New York. I think I had my life offline at the time and Comida Caliente, like a digital cooking show. She was like, well, you have to create content that people want to see. Because her question was, what kind of content do you want to create? And I was like, I want to create content that I don't get to see, that isn't out there. When she said that to me, I kind of marinated on it. I didn't just completely disregard it. There is some truth to it. Sometimes you have to give the people what they want. But I feel like when you look at the iPhone or the Mac, nobody knew that
But do I?
nobody knew that they needed an iPhone. Nobody knew that they
Exactly,
needed a
and that's
Mac,
honestly
and we
the
all
truth.
use it for the most part.
Exactly. That's why I'm like, I don't really believe in that. That's something that I had to tell myself really early on is that because people say, yeah, you got to give people what they need. And it's like, they don't know it. Sometimes people don't know what they
Hmm.
need. That's the other thing about even getting advice from people is like, they don't know what I was called to
Right.
do. They don't know like the purpose and mission that I am on specifically is beyond anything they could even
Right.
imagine. And it's not for them to
Yeah, because the vision
understand,
was given to you.
and that's just plain and simple. And that's why like as a like an evolution of Blossom would look totally different. It would be so spiritual because like I'm not getting advice from anybody. Like I'm very connected to my purpose and mission. I'm channeling the energy that like I'm channeling a different energy for
Right.
sure.
Do you find that you thrive better in your role as a creative? And so, because of that, you'll kind of throw admin work to maybe a production assistant or maybe an assistant that works closely with you so that you can focus more on the creative and not have to spend so much time on the business end?
Yeah, I think that like the term I feel most aligned with is artist. Like that's over. I feel like creative kind of has this different association
Yeah, I noticed you use
sometimes more
artists a
with
lot.
like yeah, artist is the word that I really feel tied to. And so yes, I think I was designed to share my art with the world. I mean, my grandmother was an artist. Like I have her art here. I have her sketchbooks here. Like my grandmother was an artist. I am an artist. My mom, in her own ways, is
Hmm.
artistic. And so, yeah, like I think that producing and admin and all that was a survival tool. Like it got me into the door in television, like that hustle, that grind, that organization, that being on
Hmm.
point. That's a skill set I have. And I'm really good at that too. What I love more though is the art, is the
Right.
storytelling. Now, when I have to, I'll do what I have to do just to get the art made though. Everything is about getting the
Yeah.
art made. And so now I'm in a season though, because I've had assistants, I've had full-time production team members, but I've been working independently mostly this summer.
Hmm.
But now I'm in the process of hiring an assistant because it's time to focus more on the
Right.
art.
What are you doing to scale?
I'm not really focused on scaling. You know what I'm saying? Like I'm really focused on just getting the art
Okay.
made, right? Getting the art made with the money I have, with the resources I have, with the time I have, without getting distracted and and like continuously focusing on getting
Right.
money. Like I'm really focused on investing in the art, and so I'm not focused on scaling. So I wouldn't have an answer for
Okay.
that.
You have a clear vision for Third and Wonder. What's your personal
Mhm.
vision? Especially since you said that you moved out to
Mm.
Dallas for not a
Yeah, thank
career,
you.
not a
I
career
love
move.
that question. Yeah, I love that question. Honestly, like I just want like peace and joy and ease in my life. And I want a life where I'm not like always healing from my childhood trauma. Like I want freedom from that. I want to be a great parent, and I want to have kids, and I want to take my godchildren to school one day. And I just want to feel good in my body. Like I just want a life that just like feels good to actually live, because I think that I spent a many years in pursuit of the career goals, and that didn't feel well. My mental health wasn't well. And now I just like really want peace and ease in my life, really. Like that's my personal vision, is peace
I
and
love
ease.
that. Do you feel like you're getting closer to that, or where are you in that
You're asking such beautiful questions. Yeah, I think that I have that now. Like, I think that I'm in a place where I'm learning to be the peace in areas where it might feel really challenging and chaotic. I listen to my body so much more now than my mind. Like, my body's like, yo, sis, we got to sit down. Yo, we haven't had time to think. Yo, like, I'm paying attention to how I feel more. So I would definitely say I'm in a season where I have more peace and ease, and I'm letting that be my North Star. So I know I have to work. I know I have to be uncomfortable sometimes. I know that everything won't always feel good, but I know how to get back to that place quicker. And like I said, I'm learning how to be the peace even when things feel chaotic in my life.
I love that. It reminds me of, I'm currently listening. I like to read, but sometimes, if I'm driving, I'll take the opportunity to listen. So I'm
Yeah, I get
listening
it.
to the Four Agreements. I don't know if you've read it.
Yeah.
But so
Yes.
the
Yes,
four
I have.
are being impeccable with your word, which is what you seem like you are
Mhm.
definitely on being intentional about. 2, not taking things personal. 3, don't make assumptions, which is true. Like
Ooh, that's the one right
it
there.
is, because like we make us, oh, she didn't get back to me. Well, maybe she had to hop on a plane. You know what I'm saying? There's a
Yeah.
lot of things that if you do that, not make the assumption, you'll have more peace, right? And then the last
Yeah,
one,
I agree.
always do your best. Like, and
Yeah.
I like that you talked about childhood trauma and getting to a place of peace. It really is not our faults. Sometimes when we take what happened to us as a child and we bring it into our adult life, but it is our choice to decide that we can heal from it and no longer have to take
Yeah.
it with us into our future or even into
That's
our
our
present.
responsibility.
Yeah, it's our
Absolutely. That
responsibility.
is our responsibility.
I love where you saying you are and how you're moving towards that and working towards that every day, because it is a work.
It is absolutely work. But I feel like it's the work that I'm choosing to do right
Mhm.
now. Like my work a lot was about getting to the career goals, meeting the people, doing all the things, doing all the projects. And now the work is sometimes it's no work at all. Sometimes the work is to practice doing
Yeah,
no work. Sometimes the work is to relax and to chill and like to really be comfortable in being still. That is sometimes for me, that's been
yeah.
the work this summer for sure.
Rest, peace, joy, being. I'm all
Mhm.
about getting through my Bible right now.
I love that. And like, I know the work has also been for me to feel my feelings. Like, it's so crazy because sometimes, like, I think growing up being on social media and all that, it's so much been about the work that we can
Mm,
share. But sometimes the work is just going to be experienced and it's going to be experienced for me through my
yeah.
art. And people will be able to see the growth through my art. And I can't really explain that in a
Hmm.
tweet or share that in a thread
Right.
post. Like some of the work you just going to
Yeah.
experience. You're not going to be able to really
Yeah.
see.
Who are some producers and directors that you admire?
I think Ava is like really, really brilliant. I think Greta Gerwig is like super creative. I'm really thankful for like her vision and her whimsy and her childlike
Mm-hmm.
visions. I think that there are many directors I'm still getting to know. There's this woman, she directs all the good. Man, and her name is slipping my mind. But she directs all the really dope kind of like biographical documentaries, but I'm forgetting her name. And then producers. I don't really know. Like my friends, like my friend Maya is a great producer. My friend Shanae is a great
Mhm.
producer. My friend Shayla is a great director, so I feel like, yeah, like I think there's still some that I'm getting to know. Now I could probably tell you my favorite
Who are your favorite
authors, because
authors?
that,
Run them down.
oh man, I love Young Pueblo. He is a poet. He is brilliant. I love Cleo Wade. I love her poetry. Alex L. I love her poetry. I love Marianne Williamson. Her books changed my
Nice.
life. Matt Haig wrote The Midnight Library. Absolutely amazing. Yeah, I would say those are like some of my favorite
I like that.
authors. Like,
So you've worked on some pretty amazing projects. What would you say has been your most iconic or favorite? And if you've yet to experience an iconic production, what would be like your wish list project to work on?
the production that changed me the most was Iyanla Fix My Life, because we are working with real people who are in need of healing. And because I worked on the talent side, I was associate producer. I worked with the talent from beginning to end, from when they were approved to be on the show to when they left and went back to their hotel room. They were my responsibility. And it makes me tear up because I cared about them
So
so
you
much.
saw them
And I think
transform.
that some of them, man, like, I think, some of them had this perception that this was reality television, and that some of the things we would do for reality TV. Like, I had somebody go off on me, got me in trouble. Like, Iyanla had to call me out because she thought certain things I was doing was like because of reality, when really I was being told to do these things, but there were so many, like, really just like, hey, we gotta keep you offset for a little longer. But that was her own healing that she needed to experience. But there were so many people my age. That's what makes me tear up the most. Is there were people my age who would come on the show, really just desiring to be healed, and like to see them from the beginning and know that I could support them through it. Like, they would be on set and I would they're long days. So I'm like, do you need some water? How you doing? How you feeling? Like, joking with them, really being able to be human with them was like my favorite thing. And it changed me. It made me want to adopt, because a lot of the people that come through our show are from foster families that need healing from their foster family experience. And like, it made me want to adopt. It made me want to have foster children. It made me like do my own healing. Like, I'm in the middle of some of the episodes calling people that I need to, like, that have caused me pain, because I'm having my own healing. So I would say that was the most transformational experience for me. And I got to do it
Yeah.
twice at two different points in my life. I met Michael Beckwith,
Wow.
like Devon Franklin, like I met one of the members of Boys to Men. Like, it was just so many experiences. I'm so thankful. I'm
So
so
you
thankful.
were definitely meant to speak to that friend and end up being on that show because it has impacted you greatly.
Oh,
Yeah.
absolutely. It's divine.
Yeah.
I will always be thankful. I'll always be a fan of Miss Iyanla.
All right. So I've been trying to keep my interviews short.
Okay. I love a
I
good
love this
conversation.
too. How did you fall into the bulimic disorder? Was it something that happened as a childhood, and how were you able? I know you said that you went to therapy, but what made you say that I need to find someone to help me? And how difficult was it to find the right person?
I don't talk about my trauma too much. It's just really painful. It's like the worst thing that's ever happened to me in my life. So I will say it feels like it came out of nowhere, bulimia, for me, because whatever happened to me in childhood, but I didn't start my disorder until high school. College is when it got worse. So, but in college, after my freshman year, my grandma was like, "You're sick, sis." Like, and she sent me to a 1 week rehab center. Like, it was like a overnight rehab center for a week. I was recovered for 5 years, but then I didn't have the tools I needed. So I got back into my disorder, and I had it for 5 more years. But then at 28, I had started my production company. I had Blossom at the time. I was very suicidal, and my partner didn't know this. Nobody knew this, because as a bulimic and as an only child, and from the trauma I went through, I learned to be quiet. I learned to keep my pain and all my stuff
Yeah.
hidden. And so, but when I realized I needed therapy, and I had gone to therapy before, so I was aware of it. I just hadn't really gone to it like for real, but I had seen a couple of therapists. But I remember we had just filmed like the CEO of Delta, and it was like such a big deal. All these Black women filming the CEO of Delta. I came home and I was like, I'm still unhappy. Like, I'm still unhappy. Like, I still have these suicidal thoughts. Like, I still don't want to be here. So that's the next day I found a therapist. She was great. I think I had an intention, because I had seen so many therapists. I knew I wanted somebody who was around my age, so that it would feel more like personal development than this older person like telling me
Yeah.
what to do. And she was a white woman, and she worked out amazing. She got me to, because even when I started therapy, it took me 8 months to stop my eating disorder. I still had my eating disorder, but I was in
Okay.
therapy. And once she got pregnant, she passed me on to the woman who's been my therapist now for 5 years. She's a Black woman. She's a queer woman. And now I'm 5.5 years in recovery, and it's been like the best thing to happen to me. And I think what kept me in my recovery is my purpose. My purpose has always led me, and it led me to my own healing. It was this mission. It was like, God, I got to do this. How I'm going to do this. And I'm really thankful for that. Like, I'm really thankful.
Thank you for sharing that. I always think it's important for us to share our stories, as an artist, because it in turn heals not a lot of people. It heals one person, and that's all that really matters. So thank you for sharing that. And
Absolutely.
I will say, from one Black woman to another, I'm proud of you for taking the steps to heal yourself and to be the best version of yourself that you can be.
Make me cry. Thank
Let's
you.
talk about something fun. Tell me about your signature look, because you're always rocking the hat. So tell me about your signature look.
Oh, girl. You know what? Honestly, it's the only hat that I feel like I look good in, to be honest. Because, like, I was trying all the hats, the beanies, the caps, everything. And the fedora was like, girl, yes.
It looks good on you.
It's me and you. Thank you. Thank you. It's fun. I got to get some more. I was just saying today, I got to get some more. Because it's funny. This is like this one was an investment. So it's like the other ones, once you wear other ones that are cheaper, it's like, oh, no, I need me another solid brim. So
it looks good.
Thank you.
All right, let's get into these rapid fire questions. I realize that I've been asking everyone different rapid fire questions. When I did this podcast 2 years ago now, because I did it during the pandemic, it was like the same questions, but I switch it up with everybody now, and I kind of like that. So let's get into it. You ready?
Let's get into it.
So you're going to answer one word answer. Mom life or entrepreneur life?
Neither.
Okay. Scrolling or reading a good book?
Reading.
Rent or own?
Rent for now.
Kind of feel the same way too. White rice or cauliflower rice?
White.
What? You missing out on the cauliflower.
No, I've had cauliflower rice before, and it's just like you'll never get it as soft as white rice. You'll never get it as soft, because that's the thing. It's the softness.
It's a different texture.
It's the soft
texture. Producing or directing?
Directing.
Summer weather or fall?
Fall. In this world, fall.
Drive or have a driver?
Have a driver. Have.
Scripted or unscripted?
Unscripted.
Inside or out?
Out.
TikTok or IG?
TikTok.
Diamond. Such a good conversation. I gotta say, I'm proud of myself because I can have such
great. I
do have a question for you. So the podcast is called Weighing In on the Way In. So what would you say is the ultimate way in?
Therapy. Like really getting to know ourselves. I think that as artists, people always say, do work that stands out. The only way I can stand out is by being me. How am I? People be like, how you different? I'm me. That's how I'm different. And the way that I do my best work is going to always be to be myself. So the more I learn about myself, which for me came through therapy, the more that I can do my best work.
I always get so amazed at the answers to this question. I love that. That is beautiful. Please let everybody know where they can find you.
Yes, I am at The Real Diamond with the E at the end on Instagram, on Twitter. My website is 30wonderproductions.com. And I have some very exciting things coming up very soon. I have a podcast called Creative Women Want It, where it's a spiritual podcast for Black women artists to talk about feelings, change, and the pursuit of the life we love. Wow. So that's where you can find me. I'm everywhere.
You gotta invite me to the podcast.
Yes, we gotta talk about some spiritual stuff. We gotta talk about some spiritual stuff.
I'm all about that. I'm all about God. What are some of the other exciting projects that you have in the pipeline?
So one I can't talk about yet, but I do, like I said, my podcast has been really a place for me to grow and to talk about my journey as an artist. And I think currently that's the main thing that I'm working on that I can actually share about. But other than that, to be honest, my favorite project is myself. I'm reading books, I'm taking walks, I'm taking care of my dogs, I'm like taking care of my health, taking my vitamins. Like I really am my favorite project, to be honest. Yes. I mean, I'm not always something to be worked on though, but I am my favorite I am my favorite thing.
I love that. I love that. Well, thank you so much for coming on the show. I'm so glad that this is how we met. This is such a great conversation. I hope that we can meet each other in person. And I wish you all the best. I love what you're doing, and keep shining, keep being you, and keep making the impact that you're already making. Does anyone ever say Diamonde because of the E?
Girl, all the time. I'd be like, girl, what? Yes, all the time. And it's quite annoying, but we
But
here
did you
now.
always have
We
the
here
E
now.
at the end, or is it something that you did?
Yeah, I know. Like, it's literally on my birth
Oh.
certificate. It's silly. It's just unnecessary. It's like, why y'all add the E? Why y'all add the E?
Thank you for coming to the show,
We could have just
Diamond.
kept it
I
simple.
appreciate you. I'm going to do my send off. Big thanks to everyone listening. Remember, each day you awake is a new chance to pursue your passions. And the path may be rocky. You will be challenged, but keep that same persistent energy and be a light in this world because it needs you. I'm Maureen Aladdin. I will see you in the next podcast. Thanks, Diamond. Thank you for listening to the podcast. I appreciate all of you, and I'd love for you to subscribe, like, comment, and I'll see you in the next video.